Hi, friends. Here it is, December already. And that means, I was just checking my microphone because last week I broadcasted with no sound. But it is December, and it means you are planning your holiday stuff, your holiday recitals, your caroling, your end of year stuff. I know, me too. I am too. December is also the only month that I offer my pre-sale price for my Neuro-Vocal Method certification course. It's $300 off, y'all, this month only. $300. Yes, I did say that. In December only. On January 1st, it goes up again. So we will begin this class in March. And for the month of December, you can save $300 off the normal price. So if you are on my mailing list, just check your email. Check your email. There's a link to get more information, and then you can decide if you want to sign up, because of course I want you to, and because if you're here, you're my people. So if you're not on my mailing list, what the heck? Get on my mailing list. You're missing out. Get thee to my website. Sign up. Okay, today we're going to talk about you. You. We're talking about you, what kind of person you are. I'm going to share a little thing I made for you that I call the SING, Personality Assessment Tool, SING, Personality Assessment Tool. And it is super simple and really fun and very useful in your studio, because not only is it just kind of fun to talk about yourself, because let's face it, it's also good to know how you might be affecting your students for the good and the bad. I'm going to start with one of my stories about this. That's a little bit embarrassing, but you know what? I have so many embarrassing stories. Why hide it? I had been teaching for about 15 years, I think, ish, when I had this student named Roberta, and Roberta had a killer voice. It was this big, massive, hairy voice with this huge range. It was just awesome. She was amazing rock and blues singer. I was a huge fan. Now, if you know me at all, and I think some of you do, you know that I'm a big cheerleader. If I am enthusiastic about something, which happens a lot, I make my feelings known. So every week I would ask her about her goals and her progress. What'd you do this week, right? And I'd tell her that she could easily be a professional. I would give her steps she could take to become a professional. I would give her names of band leaders that I had worked with who might hire her. Rebecca, hey, Rebecca, thanks for being here. Who might hire her. I was just like super encouraging. Or so I thought. When Roberta quit lessons with me, yes, she did, I could not figure out why. I was flummoxed. Now, years later, when I was learning about assessing different personalities and applying those skills, I realized why Roberta quit. I remembered this. She had never reflected my enthusiasm when I was enthusiastic in her direction. She never reflected that. She never asked me questions about these processes, these steps I was giving her that could move her career forward. She tolerated my cheerleading because she did not experience it as cheerleading. She experienced my enthusiasm as pressure. Now, I don't absolutely know this because I haven't checked with her, but I'm pretty sure. When she began to dread the pressure that she knew that I would heap on her at her lessons, she stopped taking lessons because, duh, right? We all tend to assume Fred Green is here. Fred, what are you doing, Fred? Stop. Hi, BJ Simon. You're my people. Awesome. Thanks, BJ. Okay. We all tend to assume that people hear our words in a way that we intended for our message to sound, right? We think people here can read our intentions. We also tend to assume that other people process messages and experiences the same way that we do, but they don't. And I'm going to guess that you, too, have had situations in your studio where you have inadvertently hurt a student's feelings, or you have pushed them into something they weren't quite ready for, or you had somebody quit lessons with no explanation. And I know these kinds of things feel awful when they happen. And, they're going to happen, but let's control what we can control, right? At least awareness can make a difference. So, of the 87 different jobs I have had in my life, one of them involved training people in a particular quadrant personality tool. I can't say which one because I don't work for them anymore. But the point of the training was that if everybody understood each other, there would be harmony and productivity in various workplace environments. Now, since then, I've learned something about a number of similar quadrant tools. There's a lot of they're all quite similar, actually, these personality tools that are quadrants. So I created a loose amalgam of these tools that focuses on us, we voice professionals, and how we can use this information in our teaching, in our studios. And that is what we're looking at today. And we're going to talk about you, what's your personality, how do you interact with your students' personalities, and how you can interact effectively based on the strengths of your personality. How fun is that? So I will show you the tool in just a minute, and we will talk about your personality. So I am Meredith Colby. I support voice teachers and voice coaches to create confident teaching and singing of microphone-based styles. I bring information to teachers through media platforms and classes to help them fill in the gaps in their learning so they can effectively and lovingly help their students find their true voices. And by doing that, create a prosperous voice business. I am the author of Money Notes, How to Sing High, Loud, Healthy, and Forever. And I want to thank Tahoma Nats for having me as their visiting author last weekend to talk about my book was part of their book club. So that was great. I loved being there for them. Please feel free to contribute to the conversation by commenting now or later on the replay. Hearts and thumbs, always appreciated. Please don't watch this without giving me a heart or a thumb because Facebook is Facebook. Do I have to? I don't need to tell you about Facebook, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it when you give me those. And if you're watching on YouTube, thumbs up, follow, all that good stuff. It really helps. Thank you. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Love it. You guys, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now, the trigger, where's my trigger word? Uh-oh. There it is. Okay. Trigger today. My freebie today is a link to an article about our subject today, and it comes complete with a free download of the colorful and attractive Sing Personality Profile tool, which I will show you in just a second. So no need to take notes. Just put personality in the chat, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can find it in the comments below. I know that's kind of a long word and possible to spell it wrong, but if you do spell it wrong, I'll find a way to get that to you. The Neuro-Vocal bot will send you a link to that article and that with the free download. And then you can just download the PDF and have that personality reference at the ready in your studio. So if you're watching on, I already said that. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, the bot will also give you a reminder let me notify you about my next broadcast. So if you could click that, that would be great too. Thank you very much. All right, let's do this thing, y'all. We're going to do the thing. And I have some cool overlays today. All right, there's the tool. It's a tiny little version of the tool, but you'll get a big version when you put personality. Oh, look at that. I put the word right in there. If you put personality in the chat, you will get a real 8.5 by 11 size of that nice reminder tool. Okay. So first I have to make this absolutely clear that this tool is based on neurotypical individuals. Okay. If you have neurodivergent students or, if you are neurodivergent, you may find that not all of this stuff absolutely applies to you. On the other hand, it absolutely applies to nobody. So you're in good company. Let me just reassure you that way. And if you have neurodivergent students, you owe it to yourself to seek out the information of Dr. Shannon Coates, who is a mad genius in this area. Can I get a witness? So having said that, I'm going to walk you through the tool itself. You need to have just a broad understanding of how this works so you can get the hang of quickly assessing your students. You'll probably find it's pretty easy. And you may need to shift a little bit of your own personality based on who you're working with. And again, you can get that reminder when you get the PDF download. Okay, there it is. I did that. That is. Okay. All right. Now, what you will notice about this, if you can see, hopefully you can see. Oh, spell the Mad Genius's name. I will be happy to. Thank you for asking that. BJ said. BJ wants to know who the Mad Genius is. Dr. Shannon Coates. Coates. She is a mad genius. All right. Now, what you will notice about my little quadrant here is that we are using the words SING to demonstrate. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. That was helpful. Rebecca put her name into the chat. So each letter designates a quadrant. Now, if you can see, I hope you can see, I don't know if you can see, but on the east-west axis, right, that is an orientation toward either tasks to the west or relationships to the east. Okay, so task and then the north-south axis indicates if your personality is more extroverted or more extroverted or outgoing, or introverted or reserved. Okay, so the south is introverted and reserved, and the north is outgoing or extroverted. Now, I want you to notice two things about this, and be aware of this, please. These are lines; they are not barriers. You can move based on your situation or the person you're interacting with. I behave very differently with my husband than I do with my students, right? We move around based on our situation, who we're interacting with. There's also I want you to remember your public personality, right? When I interact with students, that's more my public personality. And you can land anywhere along the continuum of these lines. So someone might be let's say way to the west, and they're super task oriented, or they may just kind of lean more toward task oriented. That would be me, right? I lean more toward being task oriented, but it's not a really strong need for me all the time. So you can be different spots along the continuum. So let's be clear about that. And then also remember, we all have every single one of these personality types in our personality, in the totality of our personality. So you're going to recognize bits of yourself in every quadrant. So again, in order to make good use of this tool in your voice studio, you want to focus on the public. Let me say this again. You want to focus on the dominant traits of your public personality. Okay? Dominant traits of public personality can really help you in your voice studio. Okay, now, you are going to be so impressed when you see this next slide, you guys. Look at how fancy I am. Look at that. Okay, we're going to start with, can you tell I'm a little impressed with myself today? Okay, the S personality. Now, this is a very strong personality type. They command attention. You know when an S personality is in the room because they are outgoing, they are task-oriented, they tend to be quite commanding. When they communicate, they are typically very straightforward. And some people can perceive this straightforward way of communicating as being offensive, because sometimes straightforward can kind of go over the line to be a little bit offensive. But here's the thing you need to know as the voice teacher, that is that they really value this trait. They value being straightforward, and they value it in other people too. When you speak to them in a straightforward manner, they may not like it, but you engender trust in the relationship, which is interesting, right? They will trust you more. Now, Rebecca, oh, I wish I could. I'm going to pull this down, even though it's going to go over my slide, I think. Rebecca goes, as personality reporting for duty. Me too, babe. So but here's the thing about these people. And Rebecca can tell me if I'm wrong about this, but they can be a little deceptive because they're friendly and they love to talk, but they are also task oriented and they need to accomplish things in their lessons, right? They need to meet measurable goals. So make sure to keep the chit chat. If you can peg this person, make sure that you keep the chit chat to a minimum. Don't let their outgoing nature trick you, right? Or be deceptive in any way. Rebecca says I'm right. She says guilty on all charges because this person thrives on action. Goal setting is big. You got to set goals. Big goals, right? Like recitals or gigs, super important. But you can also set smaller goals with this person. You can even set a goal for a lesson at the beginning of the lesson. Hey, next time I want to see if you memorize this song. When they see that, they come in, did they memorize it? Yay, they accomplished a goal. That feels really good to them. And yeah, of course you give voice to that goal. You acknowledge that they met that goal, and that's really important. So and also though, if somebody is super task oriented in general, it's important to create a context for not meeting goals as well, because and here again, I'm gonna call out Rebecca on this because she is very much a creative. She's outgoing, she's task oriented, but she's also a creative. So she knows that the process of meeting goals can be very messy, right? It's not a linear process when you're learning to sing. So help them contextualize that so that they don't get discouraged. And also, this person needs recognition. We all need recognition, but don't go overboard. A little goes a long way. Little pat on the head, that's good. That's my, that's one of my dog analogies. I use dog analogies a lot. So, but just make sure to note their accomplishments without gushing. And Rebecca, thank you. Okay, so I said that thing about how we learn, and Rebecca says the curviest line from A to B, right? So if somebody is not familiar with how creative skills are developed, you need to help them. If it's this personality type, you need to help them. So as you can see from this thing, I describe them, and then I have a list for you, how you can be effective with this personality type in the studio. All right, now we're going to move to the I personality type, which I hope people will recognize themselves in this. This is the stereotypic performer. This is the outgoing, talkative, charming people person who's excited to share all the details with you, and they're excited to share with you in general and will give you every single detail because they're interested in the details and they assume you are too. So they can, because of this charming, adorable trait, they can talk away most of their lesson if you let them. And I know you've had this client. You've had this client where you're thinking, I know I'm supposed to be listening to you, but at some point you gotta steer them into getting something done. You do need to manage the time, and I think I put that in there on the you side. Do I say that? Yes. Control the time. They are idealistic. They are positive, and that's beautiful trait. They can often plan for more than is realistic for them to actually be able to do. So for instance, they might find it really hard to practice, but then they get frustrated when they don't experience the progress. So, giving this person a 30-minute practice sessions between lessons is unrealistic. It's probably not going to happen. And if it's something that, let's pretend this is something that you ask all of your students to do, and they will consistently not do it, and then they feel like they're failing. So we don't want that, right? We want to be encouraging and loving to people. So help them create strategies for progress that are realistic for their personalities and for their life situations. We all have to do that. find a measure of structure that they can manage, and then reassure them as you work together to find their sweet spot for that progress. Now, another thing you should know about this person is that they are generous. They are generous people. They will give you gifts. They will compliment you. They will do favors for you. And likewise, they feel your praise very deeply. It's kind of hard to compliment this person too much. You can really lay it on with this person. You can acknowledge every little thing that they do, and they love that. It really helps them trust you and helps them move forward in their progress. So again, you do not have to remember all this. I'm going to put this up just one more time, just so I don't want you to think you have to remember all this. You can go, if you put put personality in the chat, you can get this tool, and then it's all in there. The article explains it all, and then the tool is the download, handy dandy, right? And also, I also want to remind anybody who wasn't watching before and maybe is watching now that during the month of December, I am offering $300 off the Neuro-Vocal Method certification course that starts in March of next year. So it's only during the month of December, and it's $300 savings. So that's a lot. So I want you to take advantage of that while you can. Okay, the N personality. The N personality is a task-oriented person who is of a more reserved personality type. I don't often use the word introverted because to be an introvert is a thing. And reserved personality types are not always introverts per se. So you can I just say reserved because it's just more accurate. Anyway, blah, blah. So this person is more likely to be a group singer than a soloist. So this isn't to say that they can't be a soloist, but they generally are more comfortable in a choir situation, or maybe being in the chorus of a community theater, something like that. Okay. They are very organized and very detail oriented. So if you have any systems that you either use in your studio or you can create for this person, for practice, for progress, for repertoire, for performance checklist, any kind of system that you have, they will appreciate it. They will use it and they will appreciate it because it really is, it's sort of how they think, and it helps them. It helps them know what they're accomplishing because they are task-oriented people. They're conscientious. And because they're conscientious, they will typically experience steady progress. So in that way, they are a very rewarding student, right? Because they actually do get better. And when you acknowledge their steady progress, please do it in a very matter-of-fact way. Again, no gushing, just like your S personality. Don't gush, but do acknowledge. Very important. So if they perceive things as being confusing or haphazard, it can make them feel anxious or critical. So let's just say you are an I personality, right? And you're just like, yeah, we'll just go with the program. We'll just see how things feel today and everything, we'll just see how it feels and go with that, which you're very comfortable with. They can feel really anxious about that. So that's one of these situations where you need to shift a little bit in their direction to create structure so that they don't feel anxious, so they feel comfortable, so that they can do the work that you guys need to do together, right? You start and end the lesson on time. They don't expect extra time. Trust me. You do not need to give this person extra time. They expect you to end when you said you were going to end. Yeah. Okay. And then it is helpful to talk to this person in terms of categories and tasks. So for instance, you might say, last week we found 2 tools. Let me pull it up. We learned how to do a lip trill. And then as you did that, you held your hands on your stomach. And that really helps you access some ease in your higher notes, right? So I really categorized what we did and what the outcome of that was. That really helps them file it and then use it. So that's one of the great things about these people. They will use the tools. Now, here's the thing. These folks tend to overthink things. They can often be really hard on themselves. So it is helpful to both you and them if you can isolate elements of the teaching progress so that you're able to talk about what they have moved forward on and what we are finding challenging, right? So really parsing it out and being able to keep everything in context and perspective rather than just letting it be a big nebulous thing that they feel like they're not keeping up. Yeah, is this making sense to you guys? They can get bogged down in the details. Is anybody this making sense to anybody? I know I'm talking really fast, but I have so much to get through today, and I really want to get through this. So Rebecca says, "Oof, I've got a pro singer cross training from legit to CCM, and this is totally her." Oh, okay, good. Well, then I hope this is helpful. I hope this is helpful to you because. Yeah, if someone is taking on that's a big messy task, right? Cross training from legit to CCM. And so CCM is much harder to quantify than legit in the big picture. But if you can really make things small, tiny little bits and manageable, she'll probably really appreciate that because it can be really, that kind of big messy project can be really overwhelming for that personality type. And Rebecca says, I have to pivot my teaching style with her because she wants things in neat boxes, right? Yeah. And and sometimes you can say, why does it have to be in a neat box? Just come on, right? But that gets back to my original statement, which was that we tend to think people perceive things in the way that we perceive them. That's just human nature. We all tend to do it. But as people who are helping other artists in a very intimate, very personal one-on-one situation, we need to be very aware that, the pivot, I love that you use the word pivoting. We need to pivot to meet them where they are in order to facilitate this artistic growth. It's hard. Okay. So, and the last personality type is the G personality type. And this person is relationship oriented and reserved. If you have a friend who is this personality type, they are probably your favorite person because they are the nicest of people. They are more likely, like the other reserved personality type, more likely to want to sing in choirs or a community theater chorus. They might be somebody who was sort of brought into being a soloist because they were talented and find that they're not as comfortable being a soloist, and they will need permission to say, hey, it's okay to be in a choir. Choirs are beautiful things, right? So that you know, help them make it okay for their souls to be fed in the way that works for them. So in a gentle way, right? So you want to be gentle with this type, not at all pushy. They are conscientious, they are kind, and here's one of the things about these folks, kind of like those S personalities. These guys have terrific listening skills. They will look you right in the eye and listen and nod their heads and say, mm-hmm. And if you are a talker, watch out because they will let you talk and talk. So don't talk away the lesson, even if they seem like they're really appreciating it and enjoying what you're saying. So they appreciate your professional guidance, though they may take a little bit of time to get used to an idea. This is just a thing. If they say no to you or they don't jump on your swell idea or what you have suggested for them, they are not necessarily saying no to you or saying no to the idea. What they're saying no to is the idea that they have to approve of it right away. So they need a little bit of time to chew on an idea, to ruminate on it a little bit. You can come back to it later. Give them time to consider changes, even when they're small changes. Be aware that this person's level of commitment, be aware of this person's level of commitment before you ask them to do out of studio work. homework, practice stuff. And don't ask them for more than they can give you because they hate to disappoint you. Literally, they will quit lessons if they are telling themselves a story about disappointing you. I'm not kidding. So be aware. Be aware of how much they can do. This personality type is very caring and very generous. They will remember your birthday. They will remember your son's graduation. They will give you a gift or a card when this happens. And because they do not like to draw the spotlight on themselves, their efforts are often overlooked. And this is just a thing. This is actually, if I had to say the one thing that's most important to know about this personality type, it is this thing. They don't like to say, hey, look at me. They don't like to expect appreciation, but they do expect appreciation because they give so much. So please notice what they have given you, what they have done for you, the progress they have made. Remember to give them a lot of genuine acknowledgement, real acknowledgement for anything that you can think of. Rebecca says, choir singing teens need time to get used to ideas. Yes. Yeah, teens in general, right? I mean, this is sort of a thing. Okay, I was going to wrap it up, but now Rebecca said this smart thing, so now I have to say this. But I have been really taking to heart the idea that very few people will just say, hey, that's a swell idea, as soon as you tell them something that you think. Most people need time to think about an idea. And I will almost always say to somebody, I want you to just chew on this. Just give this some thought and we'll come back to it next week, or we'll come back to it at another time. Because people need time to get used to ideas. It's very seldom someone's going to go, that's a good idea. Almost never. I mean, in our work situations, maybe in our social situations. Hey, let's go out to a karaoke bar. Yeah, but that's different. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Thank you so much for your time today. I am Meredith Colby. Thank you for being here with me today. Or on the replay, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube at meredithcolby.com anytime. Stay safe, stay well, and have a great week. Thank you.